Yes, yes, a terrible, terrible storm is coming. Part of the issue for real estate is that any current refinancing comes at a huge increase in the cost to borrow, just as inflation squeezes profit margins to the point that it's putting dividends critically at risk. A low valuation multiple on these real estate investment firms has many fund managers advocating for REITs, mortgage, medical, and more. But these funds' low valuation multiple is in part due to the gross harm that's been inflicted on them by the slowing in the property market, which increases the loan to value ratio and then depreciates the value of that loan to an already stressed regional bank. The regional bank's balance sheet shows their liabilities, that is, the individual deposits by you in the bank, and it shows their assets, that is, the loans to you and businesses. You and the businesses typically buy property with that loan. That then pushes up the value of other property and increases the book value at the bank and other banks. It increases the assets held by other creditors and debtors to the bank. But when those regional banks stop lending, the cycle breaks, credit disappears, and values start to depreciate. It could be toxic loans, it could be runaway inflation, it could be too much regulation or not enough. But as the damage is inflicted, it hurts the regional banks. On either side of their balance sheet, we find you. A curious phenomena, though, in the banking industry is the predilection for poo to roll uphill. And as one bank goes under, the book value of others goes down, which then leads to deposits being withdrawn, liquidity disappears, and the gears really start to grind. One of the cogs in this mechanism is, of course, the Fed, who have their own balance sheet, which is published weekly in the H41 statement. It shows that the Fed's balance sheet currently sitting at $9 trillion. These trillions in assets are, of course, debts, as I explained earlier. The debt equity is controlled by law, thank goodness. And it means that the Fed can only buy government debt, aka bonds. 2/3 of that debt is Treasury securities, 1/3 is mortgage-backed securities. Both of these underwrite each other, and the Fed's balance sheet then is key to the economy. The economy can be manipulated by the Fed in various ways, some of which are very blunt, and you'll have become very familiar with the regular rate rises and insidious threats to the labour market that need to keep your wage rises below the rate of inflation in order to bring down inflation, so to make you poorer, to slow the economy. This is one way. It's very blunt. You're very used to it by now. But a much more effective way, a much more dynamic and not necessarily long-term beneficial way is to expand the Fed's balance sheet, as Ben Bernanke did in 2008 and has been done again since. Buy more debt. Buy more debt. Buy more debt, then chanted from the stands and rolls to fever pitch just as the money runs out. All over the world at exactly the same time, at exactly that moment, the music stops. And it's in that moment, it's in that silence that you hear the gross slobs, the loudmouth dogs, the masters of the universe, who bleat about 9.7% dividends that aren't going to happen. About property investments that can't possibly go wrong while telling you you should sell your home and invest it in their wife's new franchise business. All at once, you realize there's nothing you can't learn or these people can do that you can't learn here with Tradespotting, Rocky Outcrop and the gang. As time goes by, as the flow of shit returns to trend, and as the music starts to crank up again, you'll be right where you're meant to be. For you found me in good company, facing the right direction. And we'll be making our own kind of music at exactly the right moment. I'm Tradespotting. This is a technical analysis channel. Drop me your ticker using the links in the description below, and I'd be happy to make a video just for you. Thanks very much for watching. Hit the like button.